status of international conventions is a separation of powers issue, whereby if the executive feel that it's appropriate for them to sign and become a signatory, then I think it is appropriate that the courts give effect to that intention, even if it is to only call the government to their own account, because I feel that a lot of ratification of international conventions, part of their toothlessness is that they are a nod toward, oh yes, we sign, we agree in principle to all these things, but then we won't incorporate into domestic law, or we won't be, or there's this sort of taboo of incorporating international treaties into legal reasoning, that somehow if you rely on international law, it's got to also have some sort of grounding in a domestic or common law reasoning. And I think, as you're saying, it is an issue for the executive to be more explicit in what, if they're going to sign up to these conventions and they are going to ratify them, but they want to have a reservation, just like basic statutory interpretation. If you want to exclude such an intention, you need to be explicit about it. Otherwise, we'll assume that you intended for this convention to have effect in Australia. And I think that's I was just thinking that's like a kind of neat way in which to sort of, because I'm internationalist in mind, and I have an issue about that there's a lot of, walk the talk, not walk the walk, and I kind of, I sympathise with, with your perspective in that, it is relevant and it should be relevant, but it's disappointing that there is this sort of xenophobic, our system is better than yours, therefore we won't give effect. And that, abduction is a really radical self-help remedy, and that there's huge implications to it. So I think that's really interesting what you're saying about the executive.
Well, that's not dissimilar to your question, because it's about who has the role here, and under the scheme of the legislation, which is made under the aliens power and the migration power, so there's plenty of constitutional power for it. The scheme that's been put in place is that the decision on whether we will have reciprocity is reserved to the executive government, and I'm not even sure whether it can give reciprocity and withdraw it under the scheme of the regulations. You have to look that up. But I would hope that there is the capacity to withdraw it if you found, for example, that Egypt was never giving children up, or Malaysia was or never allowing a child to be sent back, then maybe you would want to consider whether you should stop the reciprocity. Do you know the answer to that question?
No.
I'm so keen to get in another question. Now, I didn't know. I was so enjoying the sound of my own voice that I missed the time, and I kept you beyond your appointed hour, and I think I should get out.